The moment she threw my old family photo into the trash, something inside me broke. That picture had my late wife, my son as a baby, and me, smiling in front of the house I built with my bare hands. And now, that same house belonged to my son and his wife, Melissa. Or at least, they thought it did. "Dad," my son Mark said awkwardly that morning, watching his wife snatch the frame from the wall. "Melissa just wants to redecorate." "Redecorate?" I said quietly. "By throwing your family history in the garbage?" Melissa rolled her eyes, her voice sharp as a knife. "Oh, please, it's just an old photo. This house looks depressing enough without dead people hanging on the walls." Dead people. That's how she referred to my late wife, the woman who raised her son, the woman who helped buy this house. I didn't yell. I didn't argue. I just looked at Mark, my only son, hoping he'd say something. But he didn't. He just stood there, his shoulders heavy, staring at the floor like a boy who'd lost his spine somewhere along the way. That's when I decided. If they thought I was some old fool who'd just fade into the wallpaper, they were about to find out how wrong they were. It all started a year ago, after I suffered a mild heart attack. I moved in with Mark and Melissa temporarily, just until I recovered. Mark insisted. "Dad, you shouldn't be alone," he'd said. At first it was fine. Melissa smiled, brought me soup, and pretended to care. But slowly, her kindness vanished. She started making comments. "Maybe you should sell your old car. It's too old-fashioned. Your clothes smell like the nursing home. Mark and I could use your room for a home office. Maybe you can stay in the basement?" Each word was a needle, but I stayed silent. I didn't want to cause tension. Then one evening, I overheard them arguing in the kitchen. "He's your father," Mark said. "And this is our house," Melissa snapped back. "He's a burden, Mark." "He doesn't even pay rent." Rent. The irony made me laugh silently from the staircase, because the truth was, I still owned this house. They didn't. Mark and Melissa had never paid off the mortgage. I had. I let them live here after Mark lost his job, told him not to worry about the payments. The deed was still in my name, but I never mentioned it. I trusted my son to handle things with respect. Clearly, I was wrong. The breaking point came on a Sunday afternoon. I was sitting in the living room, reading the newspaper, when Melissa stormed in. "Can you not sit there?" she said coldly. "We're having friends over, and honestly, you being here just makes the place look old." I looked up. "Old?" "Yeah," she smirked. "You just don't fit in. Maybe you could go for a walk or something. We don't need your gloomy energy around." Mark came in right then, holding a tray of snacks. He opened his mouth to speak, but Melissa cut him off. "Mark agrees with me, right, honey?" He hesitated, then said quietly, "Maybe just for a while, Dad." That silence that followed was louder than any scream. I stood, folded my newspaper neatly, and said, "All right. You don't want me here? Fine." I walked to my room, packed my suitcase, and left that very night. But before leaving, I made one small stop. At my lawyer's office. 3 weeks later, they got the letter. An official eviction notice. Melissa called me first, furious. "What the hell is this, old man?" she screamed through the phone. "You can't kick us out. This is our home." "No," I said calmly. "It's my home. You've been living there rent-free for years, and since I'm moving back, I'll need the space." "You can't do this," she cried. "I already did." She hung up, and for the first time in years, I felt peace. Mark came to see me a few days later. He looked tired, ashamed. "Dad," he said, "please, Melissa didn't mean what she said. She's just under stress." I looked him in the eyes. "And what about you, Mark? You stood there and let her disrespect me. You let her throw your mother's memory in the trash." He opened his mouth, but no words came. "Son," I said softly, "I raised you to be strong, to protect your family. But lately, I don't even recognize you." Tears welled in his eyes. "I messed up, Dad." I nodded. "We all do. But this time, there are consequences." He bowed his head. "What will you do with the house?" I'll move back in. Maybe rent the upstairs rooms. People who respect a home, not destroy it. He nodded slowly. Then, to my surprise, he said, "Can I help you fix the place up? Maybe I could earn back your trust." For a long moment, I said nothing. Then I smiled faintly. "We'll see, son." One step at a time. A week later, I returned to the house. The walls were still the same. The memories, too. Except one thing had changed. The photo Melissa had thrown away? I found it in the garbage bin, glass cracked, but picture intact. I cleaned it carefully and hung it back on the wall. My wife's smile seemed to glow under the light. That night, I sat in the living room again, the same place Melissa said I didn't fit in. The house felt alive again, warm, real. I poured myself a cup of tea, looked at that old photo, and whispered, "You'd be proud of me, Mary." Because I hadn't just taken revenge, I'd taken back my dignity. And as for Mark and Melissa, they moved into a small apartment downtown. Sometimes Mark visits on weekends, helping with repairs. Melissa rarely comes, maybe out of shame, maybe pride. But I don't mind. After all, respect isn't given. It's earned. And if there's one thing I learned as a father and a man, it's this: never mistake an old man's silence for weakness. Sometimes it's just the calm before justice arrives.